Well, first of all, let me say good afternoon to members of the media. This press conference has been called this afternoon on two issues. The first issue concerns the docks. If you haven't heard by now, the minister has referred the matter back to arbitration. I did receive a letter yesterday or this morning from Glenn Furbert, the labor relations officer. This matter was referred to arbitration last year, and people probably wondering why it's still hanging out there. Earlier this year, we were approached by the employer about having some dialogue about the hours of work. So for the past maybe 5 or 6 months, we've been having dialogue with the employer about hours of work, and that came to an end a couple of days ago. The workers have decided that the proposal that management had on the table for the hours of work is not acceptable by them, so they have rejected the proposal. So that leaves us with the outstanding issues that we had prior to us having these discussions, where the collective bargaining agreement now has to go back before a tribunal. The challenge that I see going forward, respectfully, and whilst I understand the concerns about this arbitration process, because reading some of the comments in the paper this morning, particularly in the Bermuda Sun, I see where the shipping lines are concerned that there possibly may be some sick-outs, or there may be overtime ban or whatever have you. I can tell you that we received a letter from the employer several months ago, an unofficial letter, that says that if this matter could not be resolved, then they're going to resort to a layoff. They have now updated that letter. I did get a copy of it just yesterday, so the workers are not even aware of this letter yet, so I do apologize to them that the employer now is saying that they are given 2 weeks notice effect for layoffs and/or redundancies. So we are going to have meetings with the employer scheduled for early next week to talk with them about that letter, because the agreement as relates to layoffs and redundancies, both parties must sit down and have a discussion about that. So this whole question about sick-outs and overtime bans and whatever have you, I can tell you that if the employer is instituting a layoff, I am instructed by the workers to institute an overtime ban. I can tell you that. I have that in my possession. We were holding that based on us having these discussions, and once those discussions were complete, if the employer officially puts the notice of layoff on the table, I am officially duty bound to put the overtime ban in place. So we had that letter. We will exchange them or whatever and take the process forward. The second matter that I want to discuss with you this afternoon, whilst it is very concerning, as the union has been for several months now, concerned about the employment situation in Bermuda and the comments that are being made from time to time from people, whether it's on the talk shows or whether it's in the streets, or whether we have the OBA making comments about employment and those sort of things. Last night I was sitting in front of the television, and what I found very disturbing, concerning as the current president of the BIU, is as follows. As president of the Bermuda Industrial Union, I was shocked and appalled to hear the comments made last night on the news by the OBA's Mr. Bob Richards. Mr. Richards said that the OBA's payroll tax exemption would include tax cuts for business who create jobs and not for workers. So what Mr. Richards is saying is that workers will not get any relief, but their employers would. This would be grossly unfair. Giving tax to their business friends while the workers bear the burden is just not right. It is unfair to provide giveaways to business owners while making our working and middle class share the burden of the taxes. This proposal shows the OBA's true colors. It shows that they are about business owners and not the workers. The OBA seriously need to go back to the drawing board with this plan. As president of the Bermuda Industrial Union and speaking on behalf of the BIU membership, I say that this is unfair and unacceptable. The union strongly opposes this initiative. The second item that I just shared with you, we do have a press release for you in that regard. The first one, you will not get a press release until this matter is officially sorted all out as it relates to whether it's going to be layoffs, whether it's going to be redundancies and all that kind of stuff. I'll have conversations about, about the situation at the docks, but I don't have a press statement for you on that. I do have one, as I said, on the second matter. Any questions?
Mr. Furbert, that letter you referred to, that is as of yesterday, the layoffs and redundancies? It's not redundancies and or layoffs. So the letter is dated?
I want to say the letter is dated yesterday.
So 2 2 weeks from yesterday?
I would think that it's going to be 2 weeks from the day that I got the letter. So if I got the letter this morning, which would be today, yes.
Any idea on numbers?
Well, let's just be clear. There's only a handful of men on the dock, so I don't know who they propose to make redundant.
When you say handful, what?
I think the last number we got, it was like 37, and it could be 38 men. Okay. And that includes all the people that work out of the garage, all the people that do the OTR, work in the OTR where the containers go over the road. So it's about 36, maybe 38 people we're talking about, not including the office staff.
So technically, in the next 24-hour window, you will be letting them know that you're implementing an overtime payment?
Well, what I would say to you is that, you know, we have intentions of having a conversation with the employer early next week to speak with them about the proposed layoff, and at that point in time, the letter will probably be exchanged with them. Because the agreement requires, let me just give you an understanding of what it is. The agreement requires the Port Workers Division of the BIU, in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement, to give 5 days notice of an overtime suspension.
But no idea of numbers?
No ideas of numbers of what?
So, not to be the devil's advocate, but if the company say, stevedoring, we're not importing as many containers because of the climate, there's periods when people are not working and so forth, you say.
Well, that's true. I have no problem with that. The issue was, and always will be, the concern of non-productive time. The workers noticed survey, we've had a number of conversations about it. The challenge right now, and what the people of Bermuda's got to understand, is that probably back in the late 60s or early 70s, when we got a guaranteed 40-hour work week, the workers gave up container royalties for the guaranteed work week. Right? So that benefit was given up 40 years ago for a guaranteed work week. If the guaranteed work week is in trouble right now, container royalties need to put back on the table, because remember now, container royalties were paid for all the containers that went over the road back in the 60s and the early 70s, which helped to subsidize the poor workers' wage. So we gave it up for the guaranteed work week. If the guaranteed work week is going to be in trouble now, we need to have a conversation with the employer, or rather it's the arbitration process, about the aspect of the loss of income for the workers at the docks. And that's real.
So my understanding is that stevedoring services offer just over 50% of the men's salary for time when they were not at work. So effectively at home being paid 50%.
That's correct.
Do you think that's a fair deal?
Well, let me just say this to you, right? Whether I think it's a fair deal or not, I represent my members. My members are saying to the management team right now that they don't think that that's a fair deal based on their loss of income. When number 8 share closed, and when number 7 share closed, they took the work away from them. The work is now 100% of the containers right now go over the road to be stripped. If you go back to the 60s and the early 70s, probably 70% of the containers went over the road, the other 30% was stripped on the dock. So that means that those 70% that went over the road, the workers got a royalty for those 70% of the containers. So they gave us the guaranteed work week. Once they gave us the guaranteed work week, we basically dropped that container royalty. So for the last 40 years now, the workers have not been paid a container royalty, because they had a guaranteed work week. So whilst I understand your question, whether or not I think it's fair that the employers now is actually going to pay them, 50% of the wage to basically stay home and not be on the job, that's still for the workers to make that final decision as to whether or not they think it's fair. They believe that because the workers go on, that it's worth a bit more to them than the 50% that the employers put on the table.
Okay, I guess. So with an election pending, you think that would help bring a speedy resolution?
Well, let's just be clear about a speedy resolution. This issue has been very delicate for a while now, right? And the mere fact that the matter is going to be referred to an arbitration process, it's going to leave a bit of a dark cloud hanging over us, because if the management team is going to, stand firm on their position and have a layoff, the workers are probably going to stand firm on their position, and they're going to implement an overtime ban. And the effects of that overtime ban, everybody knows today, if by now, what an overtime ban means for the docks. But what I'm going to find interesting is that the agent is making a comment in today's paper about the suspension of overtime. When they suspended overtime last year for 4 months, nobody said anything, because the early under from October, November last year to March January, February this year was not coming in on Sundays. I think it came in on Sundays once or twice because of bad weather. But other than that, out of those 3.5 to 4 months, the early under showed up once or twice in overtime on a Sunday. Other than that, The agents made the decision not to bring the ship in on Sunday. But mark my word, as soon as the workers put this overtime ban in place, watch what the agents are going to say about that ban. Watch what they're going to say.
So for the last few months, no ships have been coming in on Sunday?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I said, remember now, this is not a period of time where they suspended last year.
Yeah.
They haven't gone back into that mode again this year yet. And I'm not sure whether or not they will or won't, but they done it last year. They suspended, and maybe they've decided now because of what's happening with Hurricane Sandy in the last two or 3 weeks, as to whether or not the shipping lines are still trying to get control of the containers moving and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's probably why they haven't implemented their work schedule as they had last year, as the shipping schedule that they had last year, where they suspended for 3.5 to 4 months.
So my understanding is that the Oleander has been coming in on Sunday up until about 3 weeks ago when it started its winter schedule. It began coming in on a Monday just after Hurricane Sandy.
It's coming in on a Monday now? Okay, so they have done it. They have done it again there.
It's part of its winter schedule, which is what it's done for the last couple of years.
No, it's not the last couple of years. Get it right? Last year was the first year they had done that. This year is the second year. I can tell you that. This will be the second year. This will be the second year.
Oh, and I missed the first minute of it. You said it looks like it's going to arbitration?
Well, the minister has basically saying that she instituted a tribunal last year. She's now saying that she wants an answer from the parties by Thursday, the 6th of December, in relationship to the document that she sent out to both parties. So to be
The workers had to give 5 days notice.
of suspension of overtime. That's
What's
correct.
the earliest point they can give that? That's today.
They have to give 5 days notice. So whenever we serve the notice, come 5 days from there, it has to be five working days from there.
Could
So
that be today?
no, it won't be today. It won't be today.
Do you have a meeting scheduled with Steve Doran?
Not as yet, no. I know that the operations manager, Mr. Castle, he is off the island. He's due back on island, I think, either Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe. So whether Mr. Aldrich will fill in while he's away, but I definitely will try to arrange a meeting for either Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning if he can meet as early as that.